there were only 6,000 people in attendance. Holy shit. Am I right in saying this has like 10,000? Am I wrong? Am I wrong with that? Oh no. There was 800 missing. So there was...
That is a massive red flag hiding in plain sight. 6,000 people in attendance for a premier professional basketball game featuring marquee talent. The host is scrambling to check if that is even a sellout, because for certain teams in this league, 6,000 is considered a packed house. But when you look at the macro-level business of the WNBA, those numbers reveal a massive, polarizing divide in how fans consume this product.
The Indiana Fever have gone from 17,000 to 15,000 to 14,000. The Indiana Fever is the cheapest get-in price in the league. There are other teams that have 17,000-seater stadiums. None of them are as cheap to get in as the Indiana Fever.
The contrast is staggering. While some markets are fighting to scratch together 7,000 fans per game, the Indiana Fever have watched their attendance metrics slip from 17,000 down to 15,000, and then to 14,000. Yet, even with that recent dip, they are still operating in a completely different financial stratosphere compared to the rest of the league. But there is a massive catch to these metrics. The Indiana Fever are currently offering the cheapest get-in ticket price in the entire WNBA, forcing us to look at the reality of their business model.
The game, that the second Caitlin Clark got pulled to start the fourth quarter, fans just started, like, pouring out. Fans just started leaving. Fans just started going. And this is already in a situation where you are down 3,000 fans from game one. You have, like, Caitlin Clark has played, if I'm not mistaken, she's played 29 home games. There were more empty seats in her last two combined than her first 27 combined.
Look at that data point very carefully. Caitlin Clark has played 29 home games in her career, but her last two home games featured more empty seats than her first 27 home games combined. That is a concrete shift in consumer behavior. The moment head coach Stephanie White pulls Clark to start the fourth quarter, fans do not stay to support the team. They literally pour out of the arena exits because the Indiana Fever without Caitlin Clark on the floor is not an entertaining basketball product to the general public.
And I don't know if it's Stephanie White thing. I don't know what it is. And for people being like, oh, you know, Caitlin, need the rest. Okay, cool. Caitlin, play 3 more minutes. We will sub you out for the last 5. And in these 3 minutes, Caitlin, we want you to shoot 4 logo threes. This game's over. Shoot 4 logo threes in the next 3 minutes. If it's deemed enough garbage time to take her out of the game entirely.
Think about the tactical dilemma this creates for a coaching staff. If a game is deemed an absolute blowout, standard basketball logic dictates that you rest your franchise player. But standard business logic says you keep the show running. If Stephanie White knows the game is already out of reach, why not leave Clark on the floor for an extra 3 minutes, with explicit instructions to launch 4 consecutive logo threes? If she connects on 2 of them, you create a viral highlight package that dominates digital media networks for the next 48 hours, giving those paying fans a reason to buy tickets for the next home game.
If you look at A'ja Wilson's numbers versus good teams and bad teams, like A'ja Wilson versus good teams this year, they have played 2 good teams this year. They have played they've played Phoenix and they've played Atlanta. A'ja Wilson's averaging 20. She's averaging 30 against garbage teams. Even in her unanimous MVP year, A'ja Wilson against playoff teams averaged like 21 points. She averaged 34 versus non-playoff teams.
This brings us to the ultimate double standard in how individual player metrics are evaluated across sports media. The data shows that even a unanimous most valuable player like A'ja Wilson experiences massive statistical variances based on the quality of her opponent. During her historic MVP run, Wilson averaged 21 points per game against qualifying playoff teams, but that average skyrocketed to 34 points per game against non-playoff opponents. Stat padding is an institutional reality across the entire WNBA ecosystem, yet certain athletes are heavily scrutinized for it, while others receive a pass.
The reason why the Indiana Fever were must-watch TV was because of the show. The show is gone, and they don't seem to care. They care more about going from the 13th best defensive team to the 12th best defensive team while signing no defenders than they care about than they care about making a.
The financial data proves that television networks and live crowds did not tune in to watch rigid defensive schemes. The unprecedented television ratings generated by the Indiana Fever were directly tied to the fast-paced, high-octane offensive entertainment value. Yet, the front office decisions reflect an organization that seems completely disconnected from its own consumer base. The franchise prioritized moving from the 13th-ranked defense to the 12th-ranked defense, all while failing to sign elite lockdown defensive personnel in free agency. They sacrificed the core entertainment value of the team in exchange for marginal, statistical defensive upgrades that do not move the needle.
I'm sorry. Caitlin Clark did what was needed for a team to win, and then got pulled. Paige Bueckers could have been pulled for the entire fourth quarter and they win that game by 20 points. But no. If Paige gets pulled in that fourth quarter, there were a lot of fans that saw Paige Bueckers do nothing for an entire game and might have been, a bit disappointed. Not one Paige Bueckers fan left that game disappointed.
This brings us to the fundamental contrast between how different coaches handle their elite talent. Jose Fernandez understands the business of entertainment. He left Paige Bueckers on the floor in garbage time during a 20-point game because he recognized that thousands of young fans in that arena paid hard-earned money specifically to see her perform. Bueckers did virtually nothing of note through the first 3 quarters, functioning primarily as a connective passer, while teammates like Arik Ogunbowale, Jessica Shepard, and Maddie Siegrist carried the primary scoring load. But by letting her play the fourth quarter, Fernandez allowed her to put on a show with fadeaway threes and spectacular passes, ensuring that no fan left that arena feeling disappointed.
I don't like it. I don't like it. And I'm not saying Caitlin should have played till she got a triple-double. I'm not saying Caitlin should have played the rest of the game. I'm saying it's garbage time. Give Caitlin a few garbage time possessions to go and shoot 3 30-footers. Just do something. It's ridiculous. I don't know. Anyway, I'll see you guys.
The core issue facing the WNBA right now is a fundamental identity crisis between pure basketball purism and commercial sports entertainment. For a franchise like the Indiana Fever, who are struggling to secure wins consistently, every single home game must be treated as a premium entertainment asset. When a coaching staff pulls their marquee attraction early in the fourth quarter of a decided game, they are prioritizing standard developmental minutes over the explicit desires of the fans who are keeping the arena lights on. When you look across the landscape of modern sports, fans do not remember the exact context of garbage time minutes 5 years down the road. They remember the singular iconic moments. They remember seeing their favorite athlete score 40 points or hit a signature shot from the logo. By managing these games with an overly rigid traditional approach, teams are actively stifling the cultural momentum that brought millions of new eyes to the sport in the first place. The data does not lie. The empty seats in the last 2 games combined, compared to the historic sellouts of the previous 27 games, prove that the novelty factor is officially wearing off. Fans are becoming highly selective with their time and money. If the product on the floor without its central star is fundamentally uninspiring, the market will adjust accordingly, and attendance metrics will continue their downward trajectory. So who is right in this scenario? Should a head coach like Stephanie White protect her franchise player at all costs to preserve health and defensive structure? Or should she lean entirely into the entertainment business like Jose Fernandez and let her star player give the fans exactly what they paid to see? You cannot have it both ways. Pick a side in the comments below, let me know your thoughts, and make sure to hit that subscribe button for more in-depth WNBA analytical breakdowns.